Josh Searson, a World Alternative Media, here for another episode of WAM News Live. I appreciate everyone joining us today. It has been a hell of a week, to say the least, and mostly because my actual usual computer that I do all my work on decided to crash on me and do some weird thing where even the best professionals out there who looked at my computer, they could see the data, but they couldn't get it. Anyway, it's been a lot. I'm on my former crash computer that just works enough to go live as I have prepared to get a new computer. Don't do technology, and it's a perfect timing. It's Christmas. But you know what? I'm going to be positive today. I'm going to be positive because there's a lot to be grateful for in the world, despite all the craziness that we're constantly up against. And I have some interesting announcements that I'm going to make later. I want to make sure that my audio isn't too high. All right. So I'm sure you've all seen it. Number one story in the world right now, and I'll put it up on the screen for you guys. President Trump has been impeached, and CNN is talking about it like crazy, and it's going to the Senate. And you know what? Today we are not going to be talking about that. You know why? Because it's a giant distraction. We're not Trump supporters here. We're not Trump haters here either. We are rather neutral in the fact that we're voluntarists and believe in freedom of the individual, and it all just seems like, bread and circuses and basically a giant circus to us. And I think there are more pertinent issues in the news to go over rather than go over things the mainstream media won't shut up about. Now, let me know how the stream is going, because I can see the stream health is output is low. Not sure why. We have full internet according to my speed test right now. Yeah, we got full internet. So let me know how everything looks. It shows it as red here. We are seeing as well float, but that shouldn't matter. We're going through the video player, so it shouldn't be an issue. Anyway, lots of chopped in the audio, says Shane Lackey. Ruby says sound is in and out, but still very understandable. Man, I can't catch a break this week. For those interested, I'm going to put it up on the screen here. We do have the WAM store on Teespring, so check that out. We have lots to check out there. We got lots of products for you guys to buy. I think you can still, if you rush the shipping, it'll cost you a bit more, but you could get it for Christmas. Lots and lots of stuff to choose from. We got a government is organized crime pillow. The Sphinx is 12,000 years old. An Andrew Yang feeding a guy whipped cream shirt, because you want to wear that around. Not a Slave phone case. Nah by Rosa Parks, 1955. Lots of stuff. Creepy old guy 2020. The internet is my school. The revolution will not be YouTubed. All sorts of stuff like that. There's no shortage. Statism is cancer, and the Fed. F the Fed. We got lots. So just check that out if you haven't already, and make sure to check us out on float.app. Let's get that off the screen. And we just hit 1,500 followers, though I just lost some of them. But anyway, we are really watching things shift on float.app, and I'm really, really excited about it. Now, I'm going to stream gets better. I might have to reduce video quality in order to do it, which is unfortunate, but let's see what we got here. Let's see. It's at 720 resolution, so it shouldn't be an issue. Maybe that'll be a little bit better. Anyway, that's a great way to start a show. Technical issues. I've had no shortage of that this last week. As I mentioned, my computer crashed, and I've been basically, I have to spend thousands of dollars I don't have, so I'm gonna probably get into debt dramatically so that I can provide you more videos, because this computer actually crashed itself, the one I'm using right now, and almost impossible to it's almost impossible to use. So hopefully we don't have any more issues on the stream. I do want to get into my first report, but the issue is if I go into the report, I won't be able to tell till the end of the report if it cuts out completely and then deletes the whole video. So there's that issue. Not eating us so much internet. Anyway, our internet's at full speed right now, and I pay the highest amount to get the best internet in Vegas, so this doesn't happen. So that's always fun. Cox Cable, guys, don't get it. I see a lot of comments coming in. We will be taking super chats and we'll be taking questions and all sorts of stuff, but we're going to be doing some videos. And you know what? Because I need to reach people on YouTube, I'm going to shut off the floats. Unfortunately, I'm going to check in quickly, but everything's glitching out. I appreciate everyone joining on Float. I gotta sign out of Float though, so I can reach the larger audience right now on YouTube and make sure that everyone goes to Float. All right, that should help. A big shout out to Thomas Kekonen, who sent $19.99 US in the super chat. Thank you so much. I really truly appreciate that. That helps a huge amount. And it helps us stay alive here at WAM because we have been having a real hard time. And as Ninja Mask says, dude, you cut in and out with audio. I can't help it, man. I don't know what to tell you. The internet says it's running at full speed and it's fine. It's at megabytes per second, so or megabits or whatever it is. But I don't know why YouTube, because every other thing seems to be working fine. There's probably a reason for that. Anyway, thank you so much, Tuamis. Is that how you pronounce it? Tuamis? Sorry, Chrissy. I had to shut down the float things. I mean, the more important task is to get all those on YouTube as we are losing time on YouTube. We have very little time left to get as many people from YouTube to Float. Because look at this. Out of 136,000 people subscribed to WAM, 29 people are watching. And that is sick and disgusting. There was 9 people just watching on Float out of 1,000 people. 29 out of 136,000 people. So, I mean, we need to move to float.app, guys, flote.app. I'll get it again down below. I just spent an hour and a half setting all the equipment up on the computer so I do this live stream. So I'm getting really frustrated that we are having all these things because the internet says it's running fine, yet YouTube is glitching out like crazy. All right, we got someone who isn't actually named Wood. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Mega Incredible says, have you tried yelling at it? Well, yelling at the wall lately, but it doesn't seem to do anything. So unfortunately, we'll have to just carry on as we are. Chrissy, it shows that the stream health improved slightly, so I did it. Anyway, let's get to the news. I hate this, but what can I do right now? It's cutting out, and it's infuriating. I don't know how much I can take of this anymore, because the weird thing is that I think this is all YouTube. Like, internet strength is fine, and YouTube is really doing whatever they can in order to stop me from reaching people and shut me down. Hate to be so conspiratorial about it, but it's quite obvious. It goes without saying they're cutting in and out the stream and I can't reach people. By the way, Morales all news for Toronto right now, and it's not like this. Well, Toronto's in Vegas. Anyway, he's on, by the way, at free domain at domain on Float, so you can go follow him there. Anyway, I don't even know if I can do this video right now because it's coming in and out. I need to do it because I had 2 interviews set up today and both got canceled. And my only way to get a video tomorrow is to do this because it takes 6-7 hours to properly edit a good video. Never mind researching it and doing the video and everything. So I need to do this in order to get a video up tomorrow, or YouTube will cut me down to maybe 1,000 views a day out of 1,500 videos to 100 100,000 people, and therefore I will make maybe $3 or $4, and I got enough. I'm already going to get off my lease and sell all my things so I can WAM. So very, very frustrating, but you've got to look up, chin up, right? Thank you, Matt, for the $3.40. Matt just sent $3.40. Thank you so much for the super chat, guys. Again, really, really helps a huge amount. I'm just going to get into this because I don't know what else I can do. So, anyway, if it cuts out, hopefully it works somehow. It's just infuriating, totally infuriating. All right, let's get to this. Sorry, let's see what we got here. I think I got something here. There's so many things that are coming up. Number one, we'll focus on Julian Assange. Let's get this ready to go. And again, for those that are just tuning in, make sure to press like. And by the way, when I sign out of this video, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to take your questions unless the connection shuts down. I'm going to open it up and then sign off after, but I'm still going to be here. I'm just doing this so I can cut it out and put it up as individual videos later on. Ready to go? Through up. And 3, 2, hey everybody, Josh Searson, World Alternative Media here, and something has been in the headlines that hasn't been for a while. That's Julian Assange, because of course there has been a total media blackout on Assange. But as this dailymail.co.uk article says, the torture must stop now. Group of more than 100 doctors warn Julian Assange could die in jail and urge Australia to bring him home. As it goes into in this article here, it says, first of all, more than 100 doctors have urged Australia to lobby for imprisoned WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange to be returned home for urgent medical treatment. The group has written an open letter to Foreign Minister Marise Payne calling for the 48-year-old to be returned to Australia. Should Assange die in a British prison, people will want to know what you, Minister, did to prevent his death, the letter says. Assange is in Belmarsh Prison, a high-security London jail, awaiting a full hearing in February. Remember, for passing on information. He is basically facing a death sentence right now. It's not called a death sentence, but that's what it is at the end of the day. And it's truly disgusting. It's a massive blackout, and it just shows that the media can cover up for pedophiles, but when they tell the truth about people murdering people, then that's when you go to jail. As it continues here, it says, the WikiLeaks founder is set to fight extradition to the U.S., where he faces 18 charges, including conspiring to commit computer intrusion. The doctors are gravely concerned an Australian citizen's survival could be endangered by a foreign government obstructing his health care. It is an even more serious matter for that citizen's own government to refuse to intervene against historical precedent and numerous converging lines of medical advice, the letter says. And honestly, I think there's a lot of evidence that he's being tortured and poisoned in prison. Carrying on, it says, the doctors agree with the United Nations Special Rapporteur on Torture, Nils Melzer, that Assange has been psychologically tortured. Diagnosticology specialist Stephen Frost said it was beyond belief doctors had to urge the Australian and UK government to give treatment to a torture victim. The torture must stop now, and Mr. Assange must be provided with immediate access to the healthcare which he so obviously needs before it's too late, Dr. Frost said. And of course, the famous picture you can see there. Continuing on, it says, Australian doctor and former Democrat NSW state politician Arthur Chesterfield Evans said it was chilling to see Assange's medical care being obstructed. If Australia believes in universal moral values of truth ahead of authoritarian regimes using fear and abusing legal processes to silence journalists, it must act to protect Julian Assange, his life, and his health, he said. Well, but the Australian government doesn't care about that, and it's made that very clear by trying to install a technocratic superstate grid like China, copying China with smart cities, spying on its people, and treating people like trash within the country. But that's what politics is all about, is control and slavery at the end of the day. As it continues in the article here, it says, in November, medics from Australia, the UK, Europe, and Sri Lanka wrote to British Home Secretary Priti Patel expressing serious concerns about Assange's health. More than 60 doctors wanted him transferred to a university teaching hospital, but the demands were rebuffed. Labour frontbencher Jim Chalmers said Assange's case was a fraught area but was otherwise tight-lipped. We want to see Mr. Assange treated in a humane way, in a way that respects international law, he told ABC Radio. Now, it shows a timeline of events that led to all this over the years and all the things that Assange has been involved in. And honestly, look, it should go without saying that this man just provided information that was given to him that was pertinent and something that people would be interested in seeing. And it makes me sick to see people actually look at him as some guy who in some way threatened to kill people or hurt people by spreading information. What about Daniel Ellsberg? What about the Pentagon Papers? What about... I just don't understand the point at which journalism is going to do free speech. Now, we've come to a point where if people tell the truth, it is treason. That goes back to that whole saying, truth is treason in the empire of lies, which Dr. Ron Paul has said for decades. What I find interesting is that, again, we have things like the Epstein case, where Epstein was clearly guilty. He was tried, found guilty, got a sweetheart plea deal after officials were told during the trial or during the plea deal that Assange was an agent. He was given a sweetheart plea deal. He was let off. He was allowed to continue to molest people. And ABC News had Clinton, had the royal family and all that, and then were apparently threatened by the Clintons and the royal family to not talk about it for 3 years. And that's okay. But getting information that shows video of the military murdering children and laughing about it and making jokes about it, that is terrorism. Releasing information that is pertinent to public knowledge, transparency, etc., that is somehow terrorism. What is the terror directed towards? Like, who is scared? Where's the fear coming from? Terror is fear. Where's the fear? The fear is in the helms of the state. The state is the one that's afraid. When a populace is in fear, a populace is in servitude. So what does it mean that when the state is in fear? The state should always be in fear. It shouldn't even exist in its current body of social contracts and enforcement of slavery onto the masses under the guise of coming in and saving them from the things that the government created in the first place. It shouldn't exist in that form at all. But with that said, it does. And when the state is in fear, that means that we are winning. But right now, what I see is the media doing everything they can to garner whatever power they have left to enforce the establishment point of view onto people, claiming that somehow Assange is a terrorist by spreading information that was given to him. Free information, that's it. For mass pedophile rings, but that's fine. Look at the BBC for years with Jimmy Savile. They covered up for one of the most prolific pedophiles in history. Why do people keep watching the BBC? Disney, ABC, covering up for Epstein, covering up for the family, covering up for the Clintons. Does anyone not see the collusion? And let's remember what terrorism at the end of the day truly comes down to by the definitive properties of the idea of terrorism. What it is truly is spreading an ideology by fear, utilizing fear to spread an ideology. That is exactly what those medias are doing. That is exactly what the state is doing. That's exactly what they're doing to Julian Assange as he's clearly being poisoned in a prison cell, can barely say his own name or remember his birthday. But of course, everyone's caught up with an impeachment hearing, the bread and circuses, this hockey team, this football team. It's all a gigantic distraction. And they're utilizing fear with other journalists, especially on YouTube, where we could be taken down any moment now if we dare say anything. It doesn't take much anymore. You can just get taken down for no reason. YouTube put it in the service that at any moment they could just delete our account. That's where we're at with free speech. And if we allow that to continue, we will be on our knees being dragged by the ankles, by the chains we freaking revere, to the slaughter. And the whole way along, people being dragged side by side towards the slaughter, be punching each other in the face, divided over stupid, trivial nonsense. Don't be one of those people. Stand up for yourself. Stand up for your family. Stand up for your freedom. Stand up for your own being. And stop being a slave. We should be able to say whatever we want, spread whatever information we want. We should do whatever we want as long as we aren't victimizing other people and indirectly, accidentally, with intention. People say information led to someone having a bad day. Wasn't my intention. We're at a crossroads, and we need to figure that out. Stand up for what we believe in now, or forever hold our peace. Anyway, Orwell. 1984, guys, we're at 2084 at this point. Look at YouTube. This is why we need to move to flote.app. We need to start moving to other alternatives online because the spread of free information is at risk now more than ever. Check those links below. Anyway, until next time, this is Josh Searson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change. Hey guys, all right, I'm still here. Don't go anywhere. Hopefully the stream wasn't terrible there. Probably was, but anyway, forgive me if I'm not the most intelligent today. I have a migraine. I shouldn't even be doing this, but I needed to get something up for tomorrow. And after my computer crashed for several days, I spent all the money I have and then more money that I don't have to try and fix the problem, and I still don't even have another computer yet. I'm on an old computer that doesn't work very well, so please forgive me if there's some issues. We'll do our best to keep this stream together. I have no control over it. The internet on my phone says we're at 100%, over 100 megabytes per second. We're streaming at only 720. It's not even good video quality at 25 frames per second. And we're seeing the stream output is super low, and there's all these problems. So hope for the best, I guess. It's really getting frustrating. It's pretty clear when I see the full blast that YouTube is trying to stop me from being seen. We have 47 people watching out of 136,000 people, so make sure to press like if you haven't already. Super chats help. Anything helps to keep us alive. I got an announcement that I want to make, and the announcement is that I am in 2020, about halfway through the year, after Anarcho Vegas. By the way, you can get tickets to Vegas, go to event chain, anarchovegas.com, etc. And get your tickets now. Use promo code WAM, W-A-M, and save money on your tickets. Some amazing speakers coming up. We'll announce more. You're not going to want to miss that. But anyway, so in 2020, after Anarcho Vegas, what I plan on doing is I'm going to be selling everything I own. I have no choice. I can't continuously post WAM videos without doing that. But I'm committed to this. I believe in this. I believe in spreading information. And it's far greater than YouTube. It's float.app, BitChute, places. Just find us on there. But I'm going to be I'm going to be selling all of my stuff, so that I can continue doing WAM videos. And that includes, I'm going to go homeless and voluntarily. I'm going to get off my lease for my house in Vegas, which is a very cheap rent, but I can't keep it up. I'm going to sell my vehicle. I'm going to sell everything except for 2 bags of stuff: clothes, cameras, gear, laptops, etc. And I am going to go overseas, probably to the country of Georgia, Indonesia, and a few others, and they have $150 to $300 a month rent, all furnished, and Wi-Fi included and everything, and I'm going to each month move to a different country. I'm going to save a ridiculous amount of money by doing it, and I'll continue to do these videos on a regular basis. So I'll keep you guys updated on that, but I have no choice. I got to do it, or else I'm going to be more than just homeless. I'm going to be literally on the streets, and I believe I have passion for this. I never did it for money in the first place. I did it to bring people free information, and I'll be able to be sustainable if I move to another country and only have to pay $150, $200 a month rent. Man, I mean, they have full houses in some of these places with Wi-Fi and all furnished and no bills that you have to pay or anything that are $250, $300 a month. So obviously, it makes sense to do it. I don't have children yet. It's just me and my girlfriend, and we will be. I don't know how long. Maybe a year, maybe 2 years at the most. I don't think it'll be super long, but I think it's important to stay and being able to. It's what I need to do in this transition to be able to continuously provide you guys with information, videos, and interviews, and all that kind of stuff, documentaries, and I'll be close to the cradle of civilization itself, so called. In close to Mesopotamia for part of it, through Europe and Asia, and I'm actually really looking forward to it. It's scary though, the idea of selling everything you have somewhere. I'm seeing no commenting in, so make sure to comment and press like if you haven't already. No comments have come in for several minutes, which is extremely strange. So I'm starting to think that maybe I've been I'm not reaching people. Anyway. Matt Spence says, yeah, crazy sheep living in Eastern Europe. Yeah, absolutely. It's almost a no-brainer to do it. Jeff Toxicity says, come visit me in Toronto before you go. I can't afford that, man. And weirdly, Canada's the most expensive place in the world to fly for some reason. But there's flights from Las Vegas to Paris that are $194 a ticket, non-stop flight from 6:55 p.m. So it's not even like at 2 or 3 in the morning. It's amazing. So I'm on one of those. I think the airline's called Level. It's but anyway, I have to do what I have to do. It's the only way. So anyway, I'm gonna get to next. Hopefully, it actually broadcasts properly and doesn't give me any terrible issues, because again, my internet says it's at full blast, but my YouTube thing here tells me something quite different. For those that are, we can't appreciate it. It's the only way we can really survive right now is super chats, pledges, and Bitcoin. So if you guys, that's our QR code for Bitcoin. It's all linked below. We have Dash, Litecoin, and Bitcoin Cash as well in the description. So make sure to check that out. If anything was here, because my computer is starting to go computer, my computer that had previously crashed in order to be able to do any of this right now. It might even be a driver issue that nothing's loading. It's so frustrating though. My God. Anyway, make sure to press like if you haven't already. Check the links below. We need to still get, I think, 1,100. And I just saw another pledge. Okay, let me actually see this here. It's so frustrating. Can't with that, so I'm not going to bother on the screen. But also the perks of living in Las Vegas, because the internet's one of the worst ever. The internet in Mauritania, Africa, is better than just. So I just got a new pledge from Sean. Thank you very much for the $1 a month pledge. Again, anything is appreciated, guys. 1, 2, 3, anything. It is as a media, and I can't tell you how cool it really is. So that puts the amount down that we need to raise by January 1st. We're a little close, and I don't think we'll make it. But I'll bring it down to $78. So we need to raise $1,178 still by January 1st of 2020 in order to stay alive as a media. And obviously, I'm just going to sell everything. But it's the only thing that it's in the transition period between now and the exodus from And we're working on building up other platforms, Float.app, BitChute, all linked below. Subscribe and follow us on there. I just reached 1,500 followers on Float. They have encrypted messages. They're replacing Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Tumblr, Reddit, and Patreon all in one. It's amazing, and everyone should get on Float.app. I'm at Josh Sigurdson as well as at WAM, W-A-M. With that said, I had to shut down the Float stream because I was streaming live to Float earlier. I had to shut it down because my internet has decided to make everything miserable for me today. So, what's new? Anyway, let's get to some more news right away. But yeah, anything, pledges, subscribe to our Patreon, all of those are really, really helpful. I do a single I don't want to go into that because it isn't worthy of your time. The media won't shut up about it, and it's really, really getting excruciating to watch. Let's see. We got a lot of stories. I probably should have integrated a recent Snowden story regarding a judge ruling that governs books and speech price, and also that establishment journalists for big censor everyone else. You see that on YouTube. Every video, everything that pops up next on your your automated stream on YouTube it's going to be Fox News, CNN, CNBC, some mainstream media. It's terrible, absolutely terrible. Go to the ridiculous CNN story. Trump impeached out of the Senate. And you see how I reload myself. That's fine. Because when things work, it's always good. I prefer things working. Super chats are helpful. Anything helps, guys. So thank you for everyone tuning in. All 36,000 people. I wonder if I'm shadow banned. And of course, Susan Wojcicki just admitted that we're all shadow banned. She said herself that she cut down views on controversial content by 70%. We're going to be taken down by YouTube any day now, and we're seeing the YouTube. Look, this is pathetic. Anyway, let's get a story up on the screen, and I'm going to the story. I have certain people that are flat earthers that aren't going to like this video. I find space fascinating, and I do believe it exists. Okay, let's get to this. And a 3, 2. Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson of World Alternative Media here, and there's an interesting story out of space.com. Whether you believe it or not, I think it's a really interesting subject to go into, so I'm going to get right into it. As it says here, the asteroids might remember a forgotten giant planet. We have much to learn from the rocks of the asteroid belt. And as the article goes into University, host of Ask a Spaceman and Space Radio, and author of Your Place in the Universe. Sutter contributed this article to Space.com's Expert Voices, op-ed, and insights. The formation of the solar system, it says, is a deeply perplexing puzzle. We're left with clues all over the place. The positions and sizes of the planets, the members of the asteroid belt, Kuiper belt and Oort cloud, I always pronounce this wrong, and the populations of moons around the planet. But how did we get to this from a vague disk of gas and dust billions of years ago? And honestly, I don't think that any science really got it right, and I don't believe that it was just all the Big Bang things that just happened. I'm more of a believer in the multiple dimensions theory, that there's we're on different planes of consciousness. As it continues here, it says, simulations and models lead the way. Recently, researchers have turned to the asteroid belt for more help. The asteroids living closest to the sun actually preserve a memory from when the solar system was still evolving, and might even offer clues to the hypothesis that we once had 5 giant planets. As it continues, billions of years ago, our solar system was just a bunch of random gas floating around as nebula. As it formed rapidly flat, young and hungry proto-sun. Over the course of 100 million years, that disk somehow became the planets and other small denizens of our home system. Computer simulations of this new planet process are fantastically difficult due to all the riches and complexities involved. They have a few general features. The innermost worlds tend to be a small rocky, while the outermost planets tend to be big and gassy and or icy. Plus, the process of formation leads to a bunch of random junk floating around. Another general feature is that newborn planets tend to move quickly into resonant motion, meaning that orbits become integer multiples of each integer multiples of each other. For example, Mars might orbit 4 times for every Jupiter orbit, and Jupiter might orbit twice for every turn around the Sun that Saturn gets. And when it comes to our solar system in particular, in simulations, the giant planets tend to form much closer together and much closer to the Sun than they are today. So then the question becomes, once we've got a batch of baby planets from our protostellar positions, this is there. Enter the NICE model, named after the city. Nice, named after the city in southern France, where a few sun-baked researchers cooked up the idea in 2005. In the bare bones version of the model, the two close for comfort giant planets are surrounded by a disk of leftovers, tiny planetesimals that never got to play the planet game and had to hang out in the outer solar system. But not for long. Ever so slowly, there's a bit of a time, ever so slowly, over the course of 100 years, the outermost giant planet, usually thought to be Neptune, but in some versions of the model it's Uranus, drifts close to one of those leftovers. Close enough that gravitationally doing a little orbital dance where the planet pulls the bit of rock forward or inward to a smaller orbit, and in exchange sends it farther out. And then that little scatter enters the next planet and does the same thing. It approaches Saturn and the process going ever southward and spreading out 3 of the giant planets. And then that plucky little planetesimal finds Jupiter, who is generally in no mood for games and doesn't like to be told what to do. Instead of nudging the rock in a massive our system's largest planet, sends that unlucky bit of debris out of the solar system altogether. That doesn't come without a price. However, the energy needed to eject the planetesimal reduces Jupiter's own orbit, sending it slightly closer to the Sun. This model is explained in large part the modern-day position of the planets and how they were able to get there from their birthplaces. And since 2005, more sophisticated versions of the NICE model have appeared, trying to explain finer details of our system's makeup, including the possibility that we once were home to a 5th giant planet that got lost in all the gravitational reshuffling. Says, but all versions of the NICE model have a particular problem with that asteroid belt. All that orbital dancing in the outer system can have big impacts on the inner worlds and their own population of planetary leftovers. Then on-again, off-again gravitational resonances that the outer planets experience as they migrate to and fro in the outer reaches destabilize members of the nascent asteroid belts scattering into all crazy orbits. In particular, the various versions of this model tend to send the innermost belt members, the chunks of rocks in 2.5 astronomical units, into orbits with high inclination, meaning that they're angled with respect to the rest of the solar system. 1 astronomical unit, or AU, is the average Earth-Sun distance, about 93 million miles, or 150 million kilometers. And yet we find most asteroids are on an even keel with the planet, so we must be getting something wrong in our models. There's a lot wrong, especially the NASA models. It's ridiculous. Anyway, it says, recently a team of researchers took a more refined approach to the simulations, looking especially at the interactions of Jupiter and Saturn as they waltz together in the early days of the solar system. The scientists found that during the process of planetary migration, Jupiter and Saturn approach a 5-to-2 resonance that Jupiter orbits 5 times for every 2 orbits of Saturn. They don't stay in that resonance for long, but the details of Saturn's orbit, while the resonance give it just the right gravitational effect on the inner system to clear away any high inclination wannabes in the asteroid belt. And what about the more exotic models, like early solar systems, including a 5th giant planet? Small resonance, which means that the modern day asteroid belt may actually be a fossil record, remembering what the young system was like. And the more we study those little leftover asteroids, the more we can learn about our own origins. And I think that is astronomically, that there was a massive planet, possibly in between Earth and Mars even, that was smashed to bits in a massive cataclysm. I can't imagine what it would have taken. I mean, you could only imagine a super volcano of enormous size, or a planet crashing into it, 2 planets colliding or something. It's just so absurd to even imagine. But what I think is important about that is our own vulnerability, because people are so busy staring at the ground, staring at their phones, staring at thinking that we are thinking that the universe revolves around us. And I believe that humanity actually came from another human dimension, but another part of space. I'm not saying aliens. I'm actually, and that's going to be memed immediately. I'm saying that we are ourselves are in some way a micro level evolved from the beings that also came from another place. And most religions, most ancient civilizations see that. Some people call it Anunnaki. Some people like that. Then the Bible talks about the Nephilim, and we hear about these beings. We hear about Quetzalcoatl and Veracocha. We hear about all these beings, and everyone has seen stories, their own epochs, blood. Millions of years ago, well, 1.8 million years ago, they found these skulls that are very reminiscent of human skulls, just slightly smaller, but they walked and ran the same way as humans. They just moved their arms slightly different. I mean, it's just another example of people think that they're so set on they know the facts, and that's not how science works. You don't know the facts. You theorize, and then you try to build on those theories. You don't count anything out. Always have an open mind. Always play things against your ideas, not try to stubbornly back up and conform your bias. And that's unfortunately what most of the scientific community does most in all realms. And archaeology is a huge part of that, and geology and geography both, I should say. And I think with the findings in the Americas, for example, and Graham Hancock goes into it in America. Enough. Again, I did videos at the Pyramid of Hellinikon in Greece, in our Ancient Civilizations playlist here on YouTube and elsewhere, is that we went there. There's a pyramid that seemed to be exploded from the inside. I'm not going to theorize. I don't know. It could have been man pulling these things away, but they're really big rocks. They're polygonal, fitted together perfectly with the mortar. It's a pyramid in Greece. Coming soon, hopefully, as well as Darren Kuyu, Karahan Tepe, which I released a documentary on here. There's evidence that these ancient civilizations lived far earlier, and that humanity dates back much further, and that humanity was cyclical, died, came back, died, came back, and these asteroids are a huge risk. The Taurid meteor stream might be mathematically unlikely, but it's very much something that will happen. Eventually, we will be hit by another stone that destroyed the Earth, hit the Hiawatha crater, created the Hiawatha crater in Greenland all those years ago, during the Younger Dryas period. We will see that kind of stuff again, and I think it's important that we look up to the sky and try to manifest some kind of salvation in that. Every the sky, we just stare at our phones, and it reminds me of the story of the Tower of Babel, and it's very disturbing. So I think that these stories, the idea of another planet, perhaps we came from there, perhaps we came from Mars, perhaps we didn't, and it was just, we're just theorizing. We're always theorizing when it comes to this kind of stuff. But perhaps it could explain a lot about our preconceived ideas and beliefs, and then play it against what the ancient civilizations said. Are we so smart, or are we just incredibly stubborn and selfish and believe with this great arrogance that we know all? That's been the death of a lot of civilizations in the past, and it's not going to stop anytime soon, because you've got your cell phones and you've got your rockets, and the government spends all their time learning or trying to figure out new ways to murder each other instead of maybe perhaps saving humanity. But it isn't in their favor to save humanity. We'll continue going because I have a story. It's choppy, but luckily, after the fact,